I take it things have settled down on the baseball front?
Oh, absolutely. The fuck not. It's literally like you put out one fire and some fucking pyro is like, oh, I think not. You know, like, listen, we're going to run this back. More fire. Here we are, Abe Cast Iron Brains, a podcast at war. My name is Bob, sitting across the way from my good friend and co-host. That's Abe. How you doing tonight, Abe?
Doing well, Bob.
Yeah, here we are. Lori's here too. How you doing tonight, Lori?
I'm okay.
Lori's okay. Tonight is Thursday, March 5th, 2026. It has been 6 days or so. Not quite since the United States bombed Iran. But I was talking about Little League Baseball when I said that this was a podcast at war.
No, we're not at war.
Civil war.
No, civil unrest, discomfort.
You know, throughout the week, Bob, remember that documentary from a few years ago, like What is a Woman? I think your boy is behind it, the Walsh or whatever his name is.
My boy Matt Walsh, huh?
Yes.
One of my least favorite people in the history of the internet, Matt Walsh.
Somebody needs to do a follow-up documentary on what is a war, because it seems like what people used to think were wars are not anymore. Now it's just like special military operation here, or just as long as it's like from the air, it doesn't count. Like it seems like people are playing with words.
We'll get into the definition of the word imminent or imminence, and who has a better handle on that before much longer here tonight. But Abe, how's your week been? What you been up to?
It's been good. You know, now that it's we're in March and the bogus months of winter are behind us. You know, I always strike the months of December, January, and February from running. Like I just don't run when it's cold. And so now I'm starting to run in anticipation of like the 4th of July, the 10K. I don't need 4 months for 10K, but anyway,
last year, when you said you were starting to run in anticipation of the 10K on the 4th of July, I think you went like another 6 weeks before you actually started running. You were.
That's true, yes. But I have already run. So this year I'm starting the first full week of March.
Nice.
And just as usual, you know, I always say there's nothing more fickle than physical stamina. Like, it's like my body's like, what are we doing? What is this? Like very hard just to run just a couple miles, which should be no problem for me. But just huffing and puffing the last couple of days. But
it used to be
fun.
When we were younger men, that there was like you break through that brick wall at 1 mile, right? Like if you could get to the 1 mile mark, you're like,
That's
okay,
true.
I can keep going now.
Yeah.
I've noticed the wall is somewhere further out there, or you know, or it's just thicker. Is I think what I'm trying. Like I don't ever actually feel like I break through the wall at any point. I similarly have taken the winter season off of running with the kids because like we were doing in the fall up until it was like 38 degrees or lower, basically, when we would wake up. It was like, okay, I'm not going to make them go outside and run when it's 38 degrees or lower. Right. So we just take them into the basement and make them do push-ups and stuff at 6:30 in the morning because I want to be a dad that they grow to hate and resent. But yeah, it's about time to start getting back out there and run around the neighborhood at 6:30 in the morning instead.
Well, the sun's going to be robbed from us next week.
Like whatever inroads we've made on daylight going to be taken away from us next week.
That's right, yeah. Sunlight deferred.
Well, good. Sounds like
yeah.
you've had a perfectly fine time of it as the world burns.
Yeah, no, it's I'm doing great.
All right, well, we should probably, it's already late here because I ranted about Little League Baseball for 30 minutes before we officially got started. Let's discuss what's going on.
Lou Holtz died.
Iran. Well, I got a segment for that later, too. Don't worry.
Oh, no more Lou Holtz.
What do we think here, Abe? And I will preface this by saying this has been a communications disaster from the Trump White House.
Yes.
Just in terms of their ability to communicate to the American public what it is they're doing and why.
Right.
And I was I don't know. I didn't go back and check the precedent here, but I imagine that what happened on Sunday regarding the Sunday chat shows, because this happened like late Friday night into Saturday morning U.S. time, correct?
Right. Yeah. Basically, it's that whole strategy of waiting until after the markets close. Overnight Friday, sometimes Saturday.
And I turn on the Sunday chat shows, imagining that I'm going to be able to listen to various administration officials make the case for what the fuck it is that we're doing here. And instead, it was United States Republican senator after United States Republican senator, none of whom were involved in the planning or execution of this, none of whom are anything but your classic Iran hawks. They just went to Congress and found all of the Iran hawks and then deployed those senators and congresspeople across the Sunday shows. And not a single individual from the Trump administration made an appearance on any of the Sunday shows. The possible exception being the Fox News Sunday show, but I just couldn't find it. It wasn't in my DVR. I guess when they changed the name of it, I stopped watching, and then I guess YouTube stopped recording it for me.
Right. Just fell out of rotation.
but I couldn't find it. But as far as I know, none of the administration appeared on that show either. But like Meet the Press, the Tapper Show on CNN, ABC, CBS, Fareed Zakaria, nobody was able to come up with even the lowliest Trump administration official to put a question to. And I found that to be like profoundly unacceptable. Like the administration has decided with no input from the American public or from the Congress to take this sort of insanely destabilizing military action and doesn't even have the goddamn common courtesy to tell us about it or what they're doing.
That is a concerning aspect to all of this, which is the administration is not concerned, or at least that's not their primary concern, like how to sell something. They're just like, we're going to take the action and it's going to work like it has worked in Venezuela, like it supposedly worked in June. The obliterated incident back in June where the president said that they did enough damage to set them back for a very long time, and then there were some reports that came out.
That's been massaged now to say, well, it wasn't actually saying that the nuclear program was obliterated, but those specific sites.
Right.
He was just referring to, it'd be real hard. I mean, we just blew it the fuck up. It'd be real hard for those specific sites to come back to what they were doing before.
Right, but also I do recall, like, shortly after that happened back in June, when things like settled down just a bit, there were some reports from the intelligence community stating that they really only set them back months. Right. And that seems to kind of, if they wanted to make that argument to say, like, the intelligence assessment was more accurate and, like, they're basically back to where they were in June, and that's why we had to take this action. But instead, they don't make that case. There's also like rounds of negotiations through intermediaries. I think it's Qatar and some other regional countries were taking part, and like I think one of them was saying that they were making some headway. These.
Well, but Kushner and Witkoff were actually in the room with Iranians, as I understand it.
Right.
I think that
so it seems
it wasn't just like this asshole talks to Qatar and this other asshole talks to Qatar, and then we have to talk to Qatar and figure shit out. They were actually in a room with them.
Right.
And apparently what was said was, no, we're not going to stop, and you're never going to stop us from continuing our nuclear program effectively.
Right. And so, like, if that's the case, so basically now, where does that leave you?
And by the way, it takes a week for Witkoff to go on, like, the Mark Levin radio program or something, and to even mention that, which is just not okay.
Again, but that speaks to the lack of concern as far as selling it. They're like, we're going to do what we want, and the people are going to fall in line. The people that carry our water will continue to do so. There may be some gripes. I don't know if they anticipated so much pushback. It seems like a lot of people are pushing back, especially by... Right,
although the approval rating for this war is in lockstep with the Trump approval rating, basically.
Right, yeah. Right, but again, I think it was... I saw that R.H. Fleischer, I haven't seen him in a while, the former press secretary for Bush back in the day, and he said, like, the best it typically will be is, like, the first, 48 to 72 hours. Like the problems become greater down the road. So like if this kind of continues, this drags on, then it becomes worse and worse because now Iran has an appetite for destruction through their leaders and through their citizens. So that's not a pressure point for them. They could just replace these Khomeini people. This guy was 86 at the age of 86. I didn't see any headlines saying that. But like they,
Look at you, little Strassmann himself rubbing off on you here. I like it.
But like Venezuela, you have corrupt politicians, but they're not zealots. They're not religious zealots, right? They don't have that factor. So like you have corrupt politicians in Iran too, but on top of that, that's an added layer of religious zealotry.
Right. The new Ayatollah, who is as of this moment 9/21, has not yet been assassinated by the state of Israel. Right. But I assume
but again,
it's coming. He said he's going to spill the blood of Donald Trump, like in his first remarks after being made the Ayatollah. So.
Right. And there was that intelligence report a couple of years ago when Trump was running for office. There was a report that said that they were trying to kill him back then too. Like Iran has been trying to get at Trump for some time. But suppose you kill this guy. I think he's like the son of Khomeini. Like I don't know if they do the Pope thing with the I
don't want to go full like NPR host appropriately pronouncing a name in a dialect that is not his own. But I believe it's like Khamenei or something. I don't think it's I don't think you say the K. I think it's.
This is another Gaddafi situation. How many different ways can you say Gaddafi, right?
That's nothing compared to, like if this was still 2009 Facebook years, I would have posted on Facebook at some point this week. Like the country Qatar is pronounced 47,000 different ways. It has only ever been pronounced the same way 2 or 3 times.
There's Qatar, there's like so many variations.
Like there's Qatar, like there's just a million different ways that they say it.
That's true.
But
I'm not being racist. I cannot find a consistent pronunciation of that country. I just go with Qatar.
So is Khamenei? So the K is silent.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. So Khomeini.
Abe, you're the Muslim.
But it's also confusing because there was a Khomeini or Khomeini or something where the K was actually the K. But whatever.
Yeah, I could have sworn there was a K involved.
How does Arabic go?
Yeah, this is every day's a new day, Lori, for me. But anyways, the pressure points.
Don't blame Abe. He's lightheaded because of the fast.
That's
Ramadan.
Right. But the sun is down now, so I am drinking plenty of fluids. But the problem is, so with Iran, like the American strategy appears to be like it's kind of hard to figure out what the strategy is because it's a bit incoherent. Is to kill off the leadership, destroy the military infrastructure, so that they're not able to retaliate in any significant way, destroy their navy, basically degrade their ability to make war, and then hope there's some sort of internal pushback, like a civil war, or maybe send those. What is that group that always like is the Kurds? There's some offshoot group that they're trying to sick on the Iranians.
I think it's the Kurds.
Yeah, I think it's the Kurds.
Kurdish.
Yeah, so the Kurds may try to rise up against them, but basically the best case scenario would be that, because the alternative would be a aerial assault and then followed by a ground invasion, and I can't imagine there's any appetite for a land war in an Asian country, especially the way the topography works there. It would just be a quagmire. It would be disastrous. So I don't know what the strategy is if this initial onslaught of attacks fails. Like, what is plan B? Like, to continue to bomb them?
Because crucially, the drones are way cheaper than the missiles and bullets that we use to shoot the drones out of the sky, right?
Right.
And they see, or at least their propaganda videos suggest that they have a functionally endless number of explodable ordnance that we simply will and they will continue to just sort of fan them out across the Middle East in the general direction of American interests, whether that be hotels or embassies or whatever, in some of these other more recently sort of it's hard to say Western aligned Middle Eastern countries, but those who have become more friendly or open to Israel in the last decade.
Not only open to Israel, but also open to tourism. They're trying to keep a reputation. And so, like, the Iranian strategy seems to be like draw in as many countries in, create a lot of disruption, right? Like, we're going to bomb everybody. We're going to threaten the Strait of Hormuz to drive up the oil cost. Basically, like, make it cost prohibitive going forward. Like, the next time they think about attacking Iran, they will have to factor that into the calculation. Like, is it worth all of the disruptive stuff that's going to come with it? Like, I think that's what Iran is trying to do. I don't know if it's going to work, but that seems to be their goal. But on the American side, like, what is the plan if just bombing them? Because, like, if you kill the next Khamenei guy, then they'll just vote another guy in. And, like, Iran is, from what I gather, I'm not Iranian, I don't know too much about their internal politics, but it appears to me they are strong enough to suppress any internal group. Right? They're not strong enough to take on the U.S. and Europe.
As long as the military authority remains aligned with the religious authority, everything is fine for them. They can withstand anything, and I'm speaking largely just out of what I've picked up in the news. Right? I'm to be clear, not even remotely an expert on the question, but like, it seems as long as the military remains aligned with the religious authority, they're going to maintain, and by maintain. I just mean continue to exercise autocratic power over their own citizenry and avoid any sort of counter-revolution that would toss them on their asses.
And this bombing campaign does not help any sort of attempt to, like, divide the religious fanatic faction of the government and the military faction of the government, right? So, and then the people who may be sympathetic to, toppling this regime, it's not good, even, if it's accidental or information is incorrect. It's not good when you're bombing schools or anything, like, even if it was accidental.
Never mind that it's hard. It's simply hard to organize when your country is under constant aerial bombardment, right? Like, it's, how do you do a proper democratic coup or whatever it would be, an anti-democratic, I don't know a coup for the good guys, if, like, it's simply impossible to organize. Like, it's just not the...
But yeah, so there's no real off-ramp, like, it's not like, you have Hexeth saying some very callous things like, like, rules of engagement are this, like, this nicety that we must do away with. Like just this sort of language and this sort of posturing is not very helpful in any sense. Like, it doesn't, the whole approach doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, Hexeth is a fucking clown, and at no point, like, I don't even know why... There's nothing to be gained by engaging with what Pete Hegseth says. Right. Marco Rubio, on the other hand, is someone that you would anticipate that you would be able to engage with at some level. And so it's concerning when even his communication is either like not confusing and correct, or like because of the thing that he said, you have to hope that he misspoke or it's being misinterpreted by me when I hear it.
Because, is that when he like stepped on it, where like the U.S. was kind of dragged in, like they had to get ahead of what Israel was going to do?
It wasn't just Rubio. There's somebody, I forget who, but somebody else also sort of indicated, like Trump himself sort of, though he pushed back against this implication, like Rubio said effectively, the threat was that Israel was going to attack, and therefore Iran was going to retaliate, and therefore we needed to respond, right? Like that was, I don't know how else to take what Rubio said besides Israel was going in and we had no choice but to follow.
Right. Which is a harder
like that's just Tucker Carlson, the tail is wagging the dog, anti-Semitic.
Right.
Like it's just gristle for that particular anti-Semitic food mill.
Right.
But is it possible that that's the case? Is it the case that Netanyahu is fulfilling a personal lifelong ambition to topple the Iranian regime and the United States had no choice but to follow? And that we can then send all of our Iran hawks onto the Sunday shows and explain why this has been a disastrous regime for the last 40 years, and including especially for the last 10, since the JCPOA, since the Obama-Iran nuke deal and all of this. We can continue making that case, but effectively the reality on the ground had not meaningfully changed in the last year or in the last 10 years. And like the status quo was the status quo. October 7th sort of being Israel's way of saying like if this is all you've got, like we can withstand even that, right? Like we're willing to take on the entire globe's anger and false claims of genocide. Like we will wear that in response to this sort of thing. We will do all sorts of crazy James Bond shit and blow up pagers and take out Hezbollah in that fashion in Lebanon, and
and also use like the traffic cams to pinpoint where the Khamenei guy was located. Apparently they had access to that, and so they were confident into where to strike. Like so,
he popped his head, and there's an argument to be made that he only popped his head out in order to be found, right? Like he hadn't been going into the office every day because he knows what happens when he goes into the fucking office. And he goes into the office one day, and now they drop a bomb on his head.
Right.
Like maybe there was an element of I'm an 86-year-old man or however old he
I'm
was.
Not running around. Yeah, like
is there a better way for him to go out than martyred by the Israelis? Like I don't think so.
Yeah, make a martyr out of somebody that was like running on E. Like, I mean, what's the over under? He had a couple more years to go, and he was done. But again, like that couldn't have been the plan because like these governments, Israel and the U.S., they have analysts, there's assessments done, and like what's the confidence of this strategy working? Like, it can't just be like, well, fuck this particular. These particular people leading this Iranian regime, because like if you just replace them with others and they have the same mindset, they have the same attitude, they have the same pursuits, then you're back to square one. It can't just be killing these particular guys. Like there has to be some sort of like high confidence that the internal dynamics are such that this is the moment to strike. It's going to topple them. A couple of months ago, there was that suppression movement where a lot of people were killed. The numbers varied. Could have been as many as 20,000 or it could have been 2,000. However many people they killed to suppress their own people. Like they have an appetite for that, so that they're willing to sacrifice a bunch of people in Iran. So if they can withstand that, then what's your next move? An invasion?
Right. Because like from the Israeli-American perspective, we must believe that we can continue to decapitate in perpetuity, right?
Right.
Like if you are not confident that you can continue to decapitate the regime in perpetuity, then all you've done is kick the hornet's nest.
Right.
Right? Like so like they must presumably they will continue to do it until the regime changes. But like that needs to be expressed by the president of the United States, and he's like totally unwilling to say this is a regime change war because regime change war has a bad reputation, and because he spent the last 20 years talking about how regime change wars are bad. But like anyone watching this must recognize that the only that's why it gets stupid where it's like I'm demanding that the administration explain itself when like the answer as to why this is happening is plainly obvious, right? They are demanding now that the Iranian Revolution end, right? That some other form of government, whatever it happens to be, takes the place of the millenarian death cult that's been in charge for the last 40 years. Right. And like maybe you just say it's because it's the last straw, right? Because it's just been going on for too long and we're sick and tired of it. And Israel has these capabilities that they've never had before. And the United States has all these bombs with nothing better to do. So fuck it. Let's just go now. And we're going to call it imminent because that's what we've decided imminent means this week. But like make the case, right? Like George W. Bush made the case. Went to the international, and that's the thing where and I think it's because they knew that that they could not satisfactorily make the case, right? And so they decided that because the public was functionally unpersuadable, as a result of 20 years of people like Donald Trump saying regime change war is bad, right? Like because effectively they want the neocon outcome without any of the bothersome neocon persuadables, right? They want the argument that they want to make is the world is a better and safer place without the Iranian asshole mullahs in charge. But they cannot validly make that case to a public that has been convinced of the opposite for the last 20 years. As a result of regime change wars that were unpleasant for all involved, right? That were it killed millions of innocents and cost thousands in blood and treasure for the trillions in treasure for the United States and thousands of lives lost in blood and so we've been acculturated against the regime change war at almost every point in American political life in terms of our outward facing nonsense. And so it becomes an impossible case to make. So he just has no choice but to look like a total fucking hypocrite here.
On top of what you said, like, Trump ran on this. Like, even the first time he ran, he basically severed the Bush neocon wing of the Republican Party, like, when he took over, to say, like, those were stupid wars. I'm not going to get into that. You know, he would bomb people here and there, but, like, it's not like get into some sort of quagmire and, like, it's going to take years. It's out of your control. And then, you know, you're hurt politically. You know, like, I always thought that Trump was, like, always sensitive to that. Like, don't get involved in, like, these lengthy kind of things. If it's like a one-off, like if you want to highlight the strength of the U.S. Special Forces and things like that, those are doable things. But, like, getting into a lengthy war on the ground with coffins showing up at a regular pace, you know, that's something that I always thought Trump tried to avoid. And so if you're sensitive to, like, it's hard to make this case, so we're not, then why proceed with a war of choice? Because, you know, none of the assessments indicate that there was something imminent happening. Like, it wasn't like 2 days from now Iran was going to do something, right? So, like, the imminent argument isn't there. So it has to be considered a war or a conflict or a military operation of choice. It's not a necessary thing. So, like, why would you endeavor into that knowing the blowback you may get? Unless they thought that these religious fanatics are going to say, you know what, forget the religion part. We'll just do secular stuff and we're going to bid for the World Cup in 10 years. Like, I don't understand what the thinking is. Like, why would they do that? Like, they've been at this for like 47 years. And again, you have to take religious zealotry different than just, you know, corrupt, greedy politicians who just want to stay for power. Like, I think you have to that's a slightly different case. And you have to be more mindful of, like, you can't just kill them into compliance. Like, there has to be some other argument.
Part of the reason for making an argument at all is because then you establish the parameters of a limiting principle. Right? Yes. You establish what you're trying to do, why you're trying to do it, and what prevents you from doing other shit also. And, like, the limiting principle is utterly non-existent here. Because the claim that was made by various senators who went on Sunday shows was the threat is to United States forces that are within range of potential Iranian rocketry. Right. And it's like, well, if that's the case, there's nowhere on Earth that we can abide someone having a rocket because it will point to someone is in range of American forces somewhere on the planet. Right. If what happened in Venezuela is at all valid, what is the limiting principle on doing that somewhere else, right? And it's why you hear some Cubans clamoring for the United States to do to the leadership in Cuba what was done to the leadership in Venezuela, especially in the wake of what we've done in Iran. And the reason to make the case is to establish what precisely the limiting principle is, because otherwise, why would we ever stop doing the world police shit against other countries who we have the military might to do it to? And it's still up in the air whether or not we have that might to effectively do it to Iran. The only reason, presumably, that we haven't done it to North Korea is because that would trigger some sort of automatic nuclear attack on South Korea, which is not acceptable. But where else in the world can you expect this sort of thing to go on? And I don't know, because I don't know what the limiting principle is in the minds of the people who continue to do this. You imagine if George W. Bush was in charge, we'd have the axis of evil, right? Like, we'd know precisely who was next on the list. Right. But we don't at this point. Yeah, and it's the same thing with, like, any argument that they make about, like, for national security reasons. Right. And when you say that I'm going to threaten to annex Greenland for national security reasons, and I'm going to put a tariff on Canadian lumber for national security reasons, and I'm going to attempt to topple the Iranian malacracy for national security reasons. Right. You've lost all coherence of what the limiting principle is on a national security reason.
Right. I wonder if somebody, I forget who made this point, if the success of what happened in Venezuela and the relative success of what happened in June in Iran, like, gave Trump this, like, sense of invincibility. Like, damn, we can do whatever we want. We can effectuate change without taking too much damage. Like, we're so overpowering.
It's just that Venezuela is so obviously different than Iran, as you said 15 minutes ago.
Right.
Like, but you think that you can control whoever is next in charge in Venezuela by saying, look, it took 20 fucking minutes and we got your dude. Right. And he's out of there, and it was relatively painless for all involved. You can be gone tomorrow if that's what you want. And so we're setting the terms here. In other words, like, that's what made that easy. None of this. You cannot possibly. I sort of, maybe I'm naive, but I refuse to believe that they thought that this would be easy. They can't be that fucking stupid.
Right.
They can't be that naive, right?
That's what's kind of confusing. Like, what is the thinking here? Maybe there's some payoff that's going to happen, but to me, it seems like this is going to drag on. Where I think they're asking, or at least the Ukrainians are offering their support, their expertise, because, like, Russia is using some of this drone technology that Iran has, like, and so I think some Ukrainians are coming to kind of explain how they can best repel without spending all that money. Like, because I think currently the ratio doesn't make sense. Like, I think it's like $20,000 on the Iranian side versus like millions of dollars on the American side and the Israeli side. So, like, you can't keep that up for too long. And so I don't know if the idea is just to kind of drag more countries into this and have this be this fuck up, and everything becomes more expensive. And I don't know. I don't know what the strategy is. To me, it seems like it's unnecessary, and now we're in this.
It's a bizarre thing that Rubio let slip that Israel is sort of, as I said earlier, wagging the dog here. And, like, even that has not really been adequately corrected, if that's not the case.
Right.
Like, I know Trump gets all blustery and he's like, "Oh no, I won't be led around. I'm the big decider man with the big boy pants." But, like, it seems to be the case that Israel decided we were going, and so we went. And that's weird. That's no good.
And here we are, So, I mean, as far as next steps, do you think this is going to drag on through the summer?
I want to make one more point before I get into predictions that I will totally fail at, because, I mean, I was joking last week or 2 weeks ago about how the prediction market was like, if you bet $10, you can win $100 if Khamenei is out of office by March 1st or whatever. And then it fucking came to pass.
What? By the way, apparently the Kelshi and others are not paying out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I saw something where they're not going to. I don't know what their argument is, but insider trading, I don't know. But, like, apparently, like, one of the betting markets.
I'll have to look that up. I hadn't seen that. Yeah. Whatever else this is, and for whatever reason we're doing it, which has been poorly explained, but probably isn't all that complicated ultimately, is they refuse to say it, but they want regime change, and that's flat out the reason that they're doing this. Whatever else it is, it's frustrating to me that it's not being properly explained or understood as the ultimate failure of international relations, right? It's whatever else war is, it is the most dramatic form of diplomatic failure, right? The failure of people to get in a room and figure shit out that can possibly be imagined. And so when I see a story about an Iranian girls' school that appears to be next door neighbors with an important military base, which, you know, say what you will about that. But when I see a story about how 175 Iranian school children, largely girls, are killed because their school was exploded, seemingly, as best I can tell, in all likelihood, by a United States attack, seems to be the most likely thing here, although to be clear, the United States has not confirmed that, and all Israel has said is that they weren't involved in operations at that time on that day in that place. So the limited facts that we have seem right now to point to it was United States munitions that exploded a girls' school where 175 school children died, which is, I mean, there's no other way of explaining it except that is what war is. War is bad. There's nothing intelligent to say about a massacre, and so we have nothing to say. That's a natural consequence of this sort of thing. It is an unavoidable natural consequence of war that innocents will die. And whether it's 1 or 5 or 175 or 10,000, there is no utilitarian calculus that is morally satisfactory to saying, well, it was worth it, right? The failure here is that the utilitarian calculus of human suffering versus good is incomprehensible. It's an impossible thing for any one person or any one system to judge as to whether or not it was worth it in the end, right? In that sense, war is always a failure. And it doesn't matter whether you are on the right side of things or on the wrong side of things. It is a human failure writ large in ways that simply cannot be accounted for on any reasonable moral scale. And so if you start talking about this in terms of defending it, you have to defend it along with the death of 175 Iranian school children at the hands of some fucking dope who pushed a button on a control panel that sent a missile that killed 175 innocent Iranian school children. There is no accounting for that on a moral ledger that makes any fucking sense.
Right.
So, like, it's awful, and I don't know, you don't even know what to do with it. But at least when the administration goes in front of the people and makes a case and tries to build a public case for war, it becomes something that we can take on. Right? It becomes something that we have to wear. We have to bear it. We have to make the case that it's worth it, even though you know it's impossible to make that case.
Right.
And and it's why it's not just scoldy nonsense to complain about how they're not making this case. It's the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, it's a whole. I mean, there are other fuck-ups, but yeah, that is the primary issue. And the president was in front of Congress a week ago or however long ago it was for the State of the Union. Like, typically when this sort of action takes place, at the very least there's like a address to the nation. It's not some video from the Mar-a-Lago or wherever.
Right, making an 8-minute video in a Mar-a-Lago
on social
ballroom.
media. Right, it should be like notifications to the local station say, I need the 9 o'clock window. I'm going to address the country and make the case. I don't think there's anything on the books that's going to explain this, right? I don't think Trump is going to be speaking to the nation next week. Maybe they'll change course and do it, but you have to.
George W. Bush spent his entire first term making the case.
Right.
Over and over and over again. It was a battle for public opinion because all that matters is public opinion. Whether the war is good or bad, successful or not, hinges on the public opinion of it, right? Yeah. Vietnam is regarded as a colossal failure because they lost public opinion, not because of anything that actually happened in Vietnam.
Right.
And if you don't even bother making the case, if you make the calculus that no matter what Trump does, 40% of people or 35 to 40% of people are going to say, yep, it was fine. And no matter how strong the case is, you're not going to convince a relevant number of people to get you over the hump in terms of public opinion.
Right.
Then you're no longer responsive to democratic impulses, to the democratic process.
Right.
You're no longer playing that game. Right. So say whatever else you will about ICE and the rest of the autocratic or what is the word that fascist impulses, so-called, of this administration, of MAGA in general. You can brush all of that aside. It's a conversation that's beside the point because they're making massive globally destabilizing war that will impact us in profound ways in terms of our economic reality, in terms of the way that we're seen in the world, in terms of Americans' ability to project authority abroad, which, by the way, we have sacrificed anything like the soft power. Right, like Air America no longer exists, or whatever. Right, like the is it Air? What is the thing?
USAID.
Well, that too, but yeah, I think you mean like I think it was like Radio Free Europe and those
Radio
kind of
Free Europe, like all of the other. Was Air America the stupid liberal radio
like Al Franken
network?
And
whatever. Our ability to propagandize for Western civilization out there in the world has been we cut the funds for that. Right. We don't do that kind of shit anymore. So we're not trying to convince anybody of anything. We're not trying to convince Americans of anything. The notion that persuasion matters is completely lost. And the Trump defenders will say, well, he's wildly persuasive. He's got 40% of people that hang on every fucking word. But as I've said for years, he's never persuaded anyone of anything that he didn't persuade the moment he came down the escalator. Right? Like, no further persuasion has ever been done. You cannot call him an effective communicator if he's never changed anyone's mind.
Right. And it's very strange, to your point about the issue regarding soft power, like treating the last year, the allies have been treated like shit. All of this, the threat of tariffs and then following through on the tariffs, threatening to take over land that belongs to an allied nation, just treating like your best neighbor in Canada like shit. Like, just the behavior has been awful, gutting the State Department, not leading with a diplomacy first kind of posture, like all of these moves. And then when you need something from, like, say, Spain, like, hey, can we use this, I don't know, launching point from wherever, they're like, no. And then you're surprised, like, why aren't they not playing ball? Spain should be a friend of ours. But, like, you don't treat your friends like friends. And so when you need them, you come asking for things. If it weren't for Iran attacking everybody, like Britain would have stayed out of it. All the other countries who have like begrudgingly gotten involved, they would have stayed out were it not for Iran approaching it like, let's just fuck with everybody.
It's a profoundly stupid thing for them to do, right? I mean, unless something changes on the long run and it just keeps going, and they can say that this is just the Americans' fault and the Israelis' fault. Right. Like, I don't know why they would seek to kick all of the hornets' nests around them.
I think the strategy seems to be make it very costly to pursue. Like, we don't have the nuclear weapons that North Korea has. Basically, like, the axis of evil is 2 out of 3 now. Like, Iraq was attacked, Iran is attacked, and Fat Man Kim Jong-un is sitting pretty over there. I mean, he also has China protecting them also. It's not just the nuclear weapons, but yeah, like the strategy doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what the idea is.
To say nothing of, like, again, just like with Venezuela, it's like, how can we possibly tell China not to do whatever they want to do with regarding Taiwan?
Yeah.
And also, is it worth noting that North Korea and China sort of refused to make any meaningful moves in the direction of defending Iran? It's not like China has been like, we have an awful lot of nukes and we like Iran the way that it is because we forced them to sell us discounted oil because of the sanctions that are placed by Western nations on Iranian oil. So we get it on the cheap because we've been exploiting them for quite some time. So will you please stop picking on this group of people that we've been exploiting for a long time? Like, it's weird. I guess maybe it's not weird, but like, you would think that this opens the door for China to be like, hey, knock it off. Right.
I think that they're going to make that case, but they're going to do it through like the UN and things like that. I think they want to see how this kind of shakes out. They're hoping that maybe like Iran withstands the barrage and the U.S. Israel probably has a stomach for it, but the U.S. probably does not have the stomach for a very lengthy war that's going to last over a year, right? So
And we don't have we don't have the military readiness. Like this puts us at a distinct disadvantage in terms of military readiness anywhere else if we have to continue to expend all of this treasure and materials right there in Iran. Like it obviously does.
Yeah, and this week there have been attempts to try to go through get a vote on the War Powers Act and things like that. I think after 60 days, if this continues and the public opinion sours even further, then what? Like it would be a humiliating defeat.
It's another thing about the limiting principle question, which is effectively Congress has decided that the president can do literally whatever he wants for whatever reason with no oversight or consequence because he is the commander in chief.
Yeah.
Like just
and this
flat
is not
out.
this is not just a Trump thing. At least this specific issue, this has been the case for some time, where the executive and the commander in chief has taken more and more power, and maybe the Congress is just like, we don't want to take responsibility for this, So like if the president takes an action, we'll see how it shakes out. We'll support it if it's popular. We'll say we were against it if it's not. And I don't know if that's, it's a dereliction of a duty that's entrusted to Congress. But that's where we are. It seems like no one wants to say no, at least not the Republicans, to a Republican president. So they're waiting to see how this shakes out. Maybe they're trying to ask for hey, what the fuck's the plan? Help us out to help you out. And maybe they're not getting that sort of coordination. Let's come up with some sort of talking points and make the case.
Yeah. All right. I did want to play a quick clip from Face the Nation, a guy that I usually sort of I will not play any Markwayne Mullen today.
Oh, the new DHS guy.
Who's replacing, and obviously there's a ton of news that we're not going to get into because we can't go all night tonight. But Kristi Noem loses her job as the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security.
After a terrible performance in Congress, right? Did you see any of that? Just hundreds of millions of dollars on an ad spend and just buying or leasing planes, she could not have looked any worse.
They flash up a photo of a luxury hotel room bed that was aboard one of the DHS planes, and she didn't have a very good answer for that.
And she did not take the Pam Bondi approach of just being abrasive and just flailing about. Maybe she would have saved her job if she did that.
Fuck me, fuck you.
Yeah.
It should have been the approach, and it wasn't quite that.
And that was under 50,000, so she couldn't make that point.
Markwayne Mullen replaces her, and when they created the Department of Homeland Security, and it was under George W. Bush, sort of your worst nightmare in terms of the cowboy aspect of the whole first Bush administration is that it would somehow end up with an idiot who sounds like Markwayne Mullen in charge of the Department of Homeland Security. And it has now come to pass.
Well, you have to be confirmed for it's
but anyway, I want to play this clip. Mike Turner is a Republican from Ohio,
guy, right?
I believe.
Oh, Ohio? Okay.
Is it Michigan?
I think it's Ohio. I think you're right.
The Midwest.
Yeah.
And someone who usually speaks forthrightly and is sort of on the ball when it comes to national security stuff and international relations, but went on with Maggie Brennan on Face the Nation and appears to be making the argument that the problem with the Obama administration's approach to Iran is that they were waiting for imminence before they would do anything. And the good news about the Trump administration is that they have waited for imminence before they were going to do anything. So I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to do, except to redefine the word imminent to mean anything, right? And whereas to narrowly define the Obama administration's understanding of the word imminent to mean that they're going to attack us with nuclear bombs, and to expand the definition of imminence to include they say that someday they are going to want to attack us with nuclear bombs, but they don't have them yet.
Right.
Here's the clip.
As we have seen,
There were. The foreign ministers
even
said
just
so.
last year, we had the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency saying that they were just mere months away from being able to have several nuclear warheads. So this
had enough
imminent issue,
material
this
to make
imminent imminent issue is one where people want to have them be with their hand almost on the button to something that has been completely assembled. In this instance, the administration has declared that they had information and imminent aspect of that Iran was a threat both to us and to Israel, our ally, and had the opportunity to take an action to eliminate that threat. That's important. We don't have to wait.
Which threat? Though?
We don't
because the
have
president
to wait.
said the nuclear threat was obliterated, and none of the nuclear
he said
sites
that
have been
at those
hit in
sites
this
that
round.
we had taken action to eliminate, where there are nuclear enrichment sites, that we had obliterated those sites. But they had continued to amass missile technology and missile inventory. They had continued, as had been declared, to pursue their intention of nuclear enrichment. They had continued.
Rubio said they weren't enriching.
They had continued their intention to pursue nuclear enrichment. They had said and declared that they were going to do that. Their programs had not been completely abolished, and their intention had not been abolished. They remained a threat, and the fact that we had the ability to intervene, that imminence is incredibly important. This standard of what is imminent. I mean, you.
Well, people want to know why. Why now? That's why I'm asking.
Because the opportunity is there to eliminate an imminent threat that is a imminent threat to the United States and our operations and in the area and our ally.
He's effectively saying that the thing that is imminent is our ability to bring military action against them, right? He says that. He says the thing that's imminent is that we can attack, right? So it's the opportunity is imminent. The threat is not precisely imminent, but then he goes back and says, well, actually the threat is imminent because they continue to have the intention to do the thing eventually, even though they're not currently doing it, and therefore are not, in fact, on the path to doing the thing.
Right, but
And
that is such
this is why you can't send this fucking congressman to make the case when he's just making a case that he could have made at any point since 2003.
Right. Yeah, that's what undercuts the argument. Like both the United States' ability to take on this action and Iran's ability to do whatever, like none of that is new. Like so, like you could have invoked this argument at any point going back years, right? So like to Brennan's point, like why now? Like why? Like, and it seems like he's kind of like getting ahead of it and defending the administration without any sort of like guidance from the White House. Like it seems like he's just kind of going there.
Right. None of them had real guidance. I think that this time they did speak to some group of senators ahead of time. I think all Republicans, maybe one, I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But they certainly didn't like brief Congress on here's what the fuck we're doing and here's why.
Right.
All right. As far as like what's to come in the months ahead, I have absolutely no idea. It's entirely possible, I think, to imagine that this could all just sort of stop and things could just begin to reset, because there is no actual imminent threat, and because we've meaningfully degraded their ability to make war in the region, right? Like at the very least, whatever imminent threat was there is now significantly reduced. Like it seems like you could move into a sort of status quo holding pattern that isn't all that different from the way that Israel has dealt with Gaza for the last 5 to 10 years or whatever it is.
Right.
The mowing the grass theory of how to deal with the Palestinians and Hamas.
Right, but the difference is the Palestinians are not able to disrupt that Strait of Hormuz place. You know, where like now.
Right, but what are we talking about? They're going to fuck with 20% of the world oil supply. like, okay, like that to some extent that benefits American oil companies who are trying to, and you make the case if you want to go stupid big brain here, galaxy brain, you could say, well, I guess Venezuela is a much more palatable place to do investment in terms of oil infrastructure.
Right, but it would take years for that to.
Well,
to
sure, it
unfold,
takes years, but like the argument is made, like we can bite the bullet on $80 a barrel oil for a little while. And figure the rest out.
And maybe that's true, but I think the problem is like a lack of a coherent argument and gas prices going up. You know, they're already at 80. It's probably going to get up to 90 or 100. Like if there was a coherent argument, people would be able to absorb that, right? If
but this is why they did this now, and this is what the other thing that they cannot say out loud. But he's about to become a lame duck president. He's already a lame duck president, effectively, right? Because the Republican Congress did one thing. They did the big, beautiful bill, and that was it.
Right.
And he will no longer come November, no matter what. Best case scenario, he wasn't keeping the House, I don't think.
Right.
Right.
The Senate he can still keep because
so in the same way that Khamenei goes into the office because he's like, well, fuck it. What's the worst that could happen? They'll make me a goddamn immortal, according to my people here. Trump's got nothing to lose anymore. Right.
Right.
Like he's and maybe that's Netanyahu's calculation also. Right? Like, what's the worst political outcome of this for Donald Trump? They're not going to successfully impeach him in all likelihood, no matter what.
Right.
And if they do, we've got the quisling J.D. Vance taking over. So who fucking cares?
Right.
So like, if there is no political cost to be paid by Donald Trump, because effectively, no matter what, he's got 35 to 40% approval.
Right.
The power of the office is diminished to whatever extent it can be diminished. He remains the commander in chief. So who fucking cares?
Yeah. Maybe that is the calculation they're operating under. Like, at some point, though, you would think that the fever has not broken yet. So who's to say that's going to change anytime soon? But like, if the inflationary pressure remains and people are losing jobs, like the economy kind of goes into this weird stagflation kind of environment.
It is to Trump's benefit for everything to go to shit and for him to be able to blame other people. Right, because he is a person who it is impossible to hold accountable, right. A person who has spent his entire life rejecting the notion that he should be shamed or ashamed of or for anything.
Right,
he is impossible to hold to account, and there's no more politically that we can do to hold him to account. This is the worst case scenario, is what I'm suggesting.
If, God forbid, if there was some sort of a terror strike, like inspired, funded by Iran.
Yes, God
proxy.
forbid the inevitable happens, because it is effectively inevitable that either some sleeper cell, to the extent that such a thing could be said to exist, or a lone wolf in sympathy with what's going on over there is going to do something terrible and awful, right? It's going to happen.
But what I'm saying is, okay, so if that were to happen, and
when that happens,
it does not.
But not next week, right?
Yes,
or the week after.
Yes, save it for like the April-May window. But in past instances, there is at least initially a rallying around the president, around the flag, around the whatever. But like, if there is some sort of direct connection, like your cock up with this war of choice led to the deaths of X number of people, whether it's in the States, that would be worse, or if it was in Europe or somewhere else. But it was like directly tied. If there was some sort of connection, like this is your cavalier action led to this thing. That would not be good for Trump. And I don't know if there's going to be a rally around the flag moment where everybody's going to be kumbaya. There's going to be pointing fingers immediately. Like, it's going to become a further disaster. So to me, like, it seems like there are a lot of risks to take. And the best case scenario is for a death cult to change course, right? To just decide to change course. Right? Yeah. Like, I mean, that seems to be like the best case scenario you're hoping for, to just say, like, you know what? We did it for almost 50 years. It didn't work. Let's, all these guys are getting rich, We want the WWE to come to Tehran. Like, I don't know what the thinking is. Like, what is the best case scenario here?
Right. because they're not crucially they're not Assad, who's like, yeah, I'll go take a luxury apartment in Moscow for the rest of my days. Right. That's not who they are. They actually believe the thing that they profess to believe.
Right.
And doing so has made them the wealthiest people in the country. Right. So like it's been reinforced that this is good.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I think fundamentally, I think it is worth considering that Netanyahu's position here is I only have so much. This is my last great chance to do the thing that has been his personal ambition for that he believes not just allegedly doesn't just believe this to be a personal ambition, but like the reason that God put him on the planet.
Right.
To some extent, his own sort of fanaticism helping, and maybe it is a reactionary fanaticism, and that makes it sort of more acceptable. But it is a perhaps divinely inspired belief that led to his ambition or his goal to take out the Iranian regime. And Donald Trump being a person who's been weird about, like, am I going to get into heaven or not, who might be weirdly susceptible to, like, well, maybe I can balance the ledger here and take out this bad guy in Venezuela. And, like, I can tell St. Peter, well, I did the Venezuela thing and I did the Iran thing. Isn't that worth it? Will you let me in? Which sounds childish and insane, but we have a childish and insane clown president, so can't dismiss it entirely. Anything else to say right now about that unfolding disaster?
I'm interested to see how this thing unfolds, because like it just seems like this is going to get kind of slippery.
Are you willing to make any noises about maybe it will be good that the Iranian Revolution is ended and replaced with something else? Or
I mean, that's always the hope. For many, many years, I've hoped to never have to hear about the Middle East, Just they're always on the news. Enough of the Middle East. Just everybody just fuck off, just quiet down, do whatever it is that you do. Just like all of this conflict, if I mean, I don't see it working out, but if this kind of fixed things, like, all right, that'd be great, but I don't see that happening is the problem.
Yeah. All right, let's do a cast iron balls segment. Ooh. That is also America's favorite game show. Did CBS News' senior national correspondent, Mark Strassmann, get off a good one? It's now time for America's favorite game show. Did Mark Strassmann, CBS News' senior national correspondent, get off a good one?
And especially Senator Ted Cruz. He left with his family for tropical Mexico and was whacked like a piñata.
Strassmann gets off a good one.
Victims died of hypothermia in bedrooms and backyards. Texans shivered and boiled all at once.
Ooh, sorry, Mark. Try again next time. Don't you love it when your interests align?
That's right.
Sometimes, not all the time.
The legendary Lou Holtz. He touched the lives of thousands of players and gave millions of fans something to celebrate, including the last national title at Notre Dame. Holtz died on Wednesday. He was 89 years old. Mark Strassmann looks at his incredible career.
With his signature hat and glasses and his relentless drive to win every game, Lou Holtz mastered his craft as a college football savant.
Our goal at Notre Dame's always perfection. We don't always reach it. We should come so close, you can't tell the difference.
That was the golden standard Coach Holtz brought to South Bend, Indiana in 1986. Hired by a then floundering Notre Dame program, within 3 seasons he stood atop the college football world as its undefeated national champion. While with the Fighting Irish, he launched several traditions still alive today, including removing the names of players from the backs of jerseys to emphasize the team over the individual, and installing the "Play Like a Champion Today" sign in the locker room.
I would tell them, when you hit that sign, I want you to remember all the sacrifices you have made, all the effort you have put forth,
Over 33 years of coaching, he won 249 games at 6 different schools, earning his induction into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2008. And in 2020, President Trump honored the Hall of Famer with a Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I'm recognized for what other people did. I never made a block or a tackle, but I did try to teach people to make good choices.
Holtz is survived by his 4 children and a legacy that stretches well beyond the football field. For CBS Mornings, I'm Mark Strassmann.
All right, Abe, did Mark Strassmann, CBS News' senior national correspondent, get off a good one?
I didn't hear a good one, but I enjoyed this segment.
Ooh, sorry, Mark. Try again next time.
It's the last kicker line about like something enduring along with his legacy. Yeah, he didn't really.
I did not realize that he was behind that Play Like a Champion 2-day thing. I mean,
Yeah.
the no-name thing, I thought predated him. Good for him. A little tradition, doesn't hurt.
Yeah, Lou Holtz, all-time great TV guy, just because of the voice alone.
They had that segment, I think him and, I forget the other guy, Mark May or somebody. There was somebody where they would do like some sort of judgment kind of segment where they're like somebody would present a college football topic and they would make these inane kind of arguments. It was hilarious.
It was hilarious because of how incompetent he was. He was a clown. He was a fun clown, but he was a clown.
But he was game. I'm sure some like 20-something producer pitched the idea, and like 70-year-old Lou Holtz was like, "Yeah, great, put me in."
Yeah.
Like he's a team player.
Yeah. All right.
There is here a local issue in Atlanta. I don't know if you read about this, but the city of Atlanta, it has like this strip club that also sells wings, chicken wings, Magic City.
Oh, God, I was going to get there because of my long-time listenership to the Biffler. I was going to be able to come up with it is Magic City. Isn't there there's a story about like an NBA player who had some wings named after him or something at that?
So Lou Williams has like a signature flavor of wings. I think he gets it a particular way. So you can order, I've had it, it's fine. Anyways, the Atlanta Hawks, they were doing
Abe's sliding in. Yeah, I go to strip clubs a lot. It's fine.
Just for the chicken wings.
You know, there was a time, I don't know if you guys remember the nudie mag, Playboy magazine. Apparently they had decent articles in them, right? And so this is a similar gimmick. You know, they actually have decent food at a place where they show boobs.
Certainly can't find any wings anywhere else in town.
That's right. But anyways, it is such a cultural institution that the Atlanta Hawks decided to have a Magic City night the Monday after next, I think on the 16th, and they're playing against the Orlando Magic.
Are they replacing the cheerleading squad with...
So it's not quite clear how that's going to go, but there was one NBA player who said that he took exception to it. It's like, I don't understand what the NBA is doing. They're trying to promote family. This is a family event.
Right.
They talk about women empowerment, all of this stuff that the NBA wants to say they're for.
Oh, they're not doing it on a WNBA Magic City night, right?
But anyway,
that would be rude. But this is
and
not
it's not
that.
like they're not going to have the strippers stripping at center court, right? You know, it's just they make wings, isn't this funny kind of thing. But it kind of blew up in their face. I don't know if they're going to pull back. I suspect that if there's more pushback, from the prudes, they're gonna do away with.
I would dismiss out of hand any of those sorts of concerns. But like, if I'm taking my 11-year-old daughter and 13-year-old son to a Hawks game, and it's like I have to now explain at an NBA game what strip clubs are.
You don't have to.
I didn't choose to have this conversation.
So it's funny that you say this. It wasn't officially sponsored by the Baltimore Orioles, but the first baseball game I ever went to, it was tickets that my mom got through her work somehow. It was, like a group ticket situation, and the group in front of us was Hooters.
That's funny. It's kind of like people complain about you go to Disney during some week of the year and it's full of the Pride weirdos, right?
Yeah,
like
gay day.
You go to but it's not, crucially, Disney isn't like, hey, it's gay day and we want to have all the gays here, right? Like,
Because when isn't it?
right. So like that, I think that distinction actually matters. If the Magic City people were like, hey, it's Hawks night at Magic City or whatever the order goes there. Like that would be a different story. Like you can't control who buys up all the tickets to your establishment there, but
it should be noted ticket prices were going for $20 before the announcement and upwards of $200 afterwards. So.
Oh yeah. A successful promotion.
I may have been in a different group chat where people were like, "Hey, you guys want to go?" And I'm like, "Oh, I gotta record this thing on Mondays. Mondays is no good." But
who are the Hawks playing?
The Magic, so it's kind of like a nice tie-in. The Orlando Magic,
That's cute.
Magic City night,
All right, you've been listening to Cast Iron Brains, a podcast with Bob and Abe. I feel like we left a ton of news on the table tonight.
A lot of meat on the bone, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. What are you going to do?
We didn't start earlier because Bob thought it was Tuesday.
It's not that I precisely thought it was Tuesday. It's just somewhere in my brain, because I know Lori gets home from work at 7 on Thursday, so we could have started at 7:30. But in the moment that I was responding to you, like usually when we move the show, it's like, okay, we'll just do it Tuesday instead of Monday because I'm busy.
Right.
And so it's like my natural reaction to, okay, when are we recording? If we didn't record on Monday, I just say 8:30. And so like in my head, it's like, oh, we're on a Tuesday schedule somehow.
Okay,
in my head.
gotcha.
It was a stupid mistake. What are you going to do? But yeah, it's all because of baseball. Baseball is, I asked my buddy Jonathan, who I work with at the baseball stuff, like, did I hallucinate this thing that I think actually happened? And also, how many aneurysms is it possible to have in one Little League baseball preseason? Like, what is the maximum number of aneurysms that can happen? Brainiron.substack.com for more from us. The opening and closing themes of the show are composed by Mark Gillig. Tetramermusic.com, Tetramer music.com for more from Mark. Abe, did you make it to the movies this week?
Yes, I went to go see. Actually, I stayed in to watch a movie. So the Oscars are a week from this Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to see all of the Best Picture nominated movies. I've seen most of them, but there are a few that I haven't seen. One of them is Train Dreams. I never heard of it. It's on Netflix. So I was like, oh, I could just stay in and just watch that. Because
it's a foreign film?
No, it's English, movie.
Right.
Joel Edgerton is in it. But anyways, the movie is totally fine. Basically, it's just like it was like narrated by somebody, one of those kind of gimmicks. And it's just like some orphan from like the turn of the century, from the previous century, kind of like going through life, struggling to find work and meeting somebody. And then like a big thing happens to him and then he has to kind of deal with it. And the whole movie is just him dealing with it. Like, I don't want to spoil it because it's decent enough to not spoil, but like...
So it's just an adult drama,
yes,
sounds like.
Right. And it's not bad. Like, I mean, I still don't know which of these movies is going to win. I haven't looked at the prediction markets, but I still have to see that Emma Stone, Yorgos, whatever, Begonia, and also Hamnet. I need to see Hamnet. I know it's supposed to be like a bit of a downer of a movie.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
But basically all the other ones I've seen, F1, One Battle After Another, Sinners, all that stuff I've seen, Marty Supreme. So, Train Dreams, I would recommend it because it's on Netflix, it's easy. But it's kind of a dry kind of movie. Like nothing really happens. It's kind of like a slice of this guy's life for a period of time. And then
One Battle After Another is the current runaway favorite to win.
Oh, so it's not even like close.
Best pick. Right, it's 78% chance versus Sinners at 20%, and then everything else is at a 3% or lower.
Kind of a down year, no? But there've been other years similar to this. And then on the TV front, I just watched Survivor. One of the funnier episodes for anyone who does watch that show.
Survivor season 50, episode 2.
Yeah, just hilarious.
How many episodes in a season of Survivor these days?
13, including the
only
live
13.
reunion.
So are they sending folks home already?
Yeah. Two people have been eliminated, and one person has to be removed from the game because they tore one of those Achilles.
Oh, did they show it?
Oh yeah, 'cause, you know, like they do, and I see this all the time in sports where the person looks back at their leg like something is wrong. Like they're like, I can't find support that I'm expecting.
Where's the weird lizard that just bit off half of my leg? Right? Yeah.
It's a very common reaction. You see it so many times. Like something snaps and they look back to like as if something happened to them, like and something did. But yeah, it's very very entertaining season so far.
Well, that's good. We actually engaged with something in the culture of relatively recent vintage. Lori,
Two things.
What else did what did we watch this week?
We watched that movie Blue Ruin.
Oh yes, movie is called Blue Ruin. It is available to stream on the free ad-supported network Tubi. So everybody's
Tubi.
probably got it on their television set already, or on their Roku or what have you.
I'm not familiar with this. What is Blue Ruin?
Came across this movie because it was recommended by a guy that Lori, a writer we've talked about before, but Lori gets his content on Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
I get it wherever you can get it, except TikTok, because I'm not on TikTok.
Jason Pargin is the writer. He likes to say that though he writes novels, his real job is making short form video, because that's where he gets the bulk of his attention these days. Jason Pargin, we've talked about him many times in the past.
This is not a new movie, right?
Oh no, it's an old movie.
Okay.
It's sort of an indie thriller. I don't know how indie it is, but it has the feel of being an independently produced and written and all of that kind of movie. It's about a guy whose parents were, in the before time of the movie, were murdered by some unpleasant family, right? There's this fucking low rent, low class family that, sort of like in classic small town way, has made a name for themselves. They've got a bunch of money, but it's like sketchy money, and they run a shitty restaurant and they run a shitty limo company and that sort of thing.
Okay.
But somebody in that family did a double murder against this guy's parents, and it ruined his life. He's living rough in a car by the beach in Maryland or something. So it's not the best life circumstances for this guy. And the rising action of the movie includes he gets woken up out of his car by a police officer who wants to bring him into the station and tells him, hey, I wanted to be the one to tell you this since I know who you are and I know your story. The guy who double murdered your parents is getting out on some technicality or as the result of
Parole.
something else.
Parole for double murder. What kind of state is this?
Yeah, I don't think it's exactly clear that he's getting paroled. I think he's just getting out, and it's not. I don't think we're given a compelling reason why. But ultimately, this leads him to seek revenge against his parents' murderers, and he's not very good at it. Like he's not. This is not John Wick.
Okay, so it's not like he doesn't have this particular set of skills. He's just like a normal, average
He is
person.
not a man with a particular set of skills. He is, in fact, just a schlubby homeless dude who was sort of mentally fragile when his parents were murdered, and the result of that fragility is that he became homeless and incapable of really living in society anymore.
So he has like nothing going for him except for this revenge.
Right, and it's not it's not a comedy of errors by any means, but it is sort of a tragedy of errors.
Okay.
Along the way, and it's still it's sort of funny movie. It's an enjoyable ride.
Is
is
the killer aware that he's being sought out for murder?
Yeah, sort of. So that it all happens very quickly, and then the unraveling of the movie is sort of the result of. Perhaps he didn't have all of the information that he needed when he decided to avenge his parents' murder. And I don't want to spoil it further. It's worth it was an enjoyable 90 minutes too, and that's crucial to one's enjoyment. It does not overstay its welcome. It's just kind of fine, and you even sort of accept like Tubi pops in 2 or 3 ad breaks throughout, and it's like, all right, fine, I'll go get a drink or go to the bathroom or whatever. But yeah, like check it out. It's a movie that we wouldn't have otherwise ever heard of, but for this writer that Lori follows, and it was a good time.
Follow him too.
I follow him too. I don't watch his fucking videos.
What, Lori? What is? Was there a particular reason why this person recommended this movie at this time? Because if it's like from 13 years ago, he just like
he does this from time to time. He just decides to say things quickly.
I think most of his videos are a result of previous articles that he's written. So it wouldn't surprise me if he had written an article previously about like movies where the protagonist is actually an idiot and it makes it more fun.
Okay.
And like so like it is this guy's incompetence or sort of
it's relatability.
Right, it's relatability. I cannot watch John Wick and be like, oh yeah, I can do gun fu also, right? Like there's zero chance that I can walk into a sauna in some unidentified wet city at night and kill 60 Russians in a bathhouse.
The thesis of his video was when you watch a movie, see how long it takes before the main character does something that you can't do.
Right. Not just that you can't, like, wouldn't do, but like that it is completely out of the realm of the possibility of your physical experience of being in the world. And
pick a lock.
Right. Like even just like take a punch. Right? Because often you see somebody take a punch and then get up and do something about it. Right. And it's like, I haven't been meaningfully punched in decades, right? And an argument could be made that I've never taken a meaningful blow to the head, right? I don't know how I would react. But you watch movies where people take incredible physical punishment and shake it off and then go on to dole out. Like a joke in a lot of movies is when someone headbutts someone else and then briefly is like, oh man, that hurt me too. Right. Like they make that face, but then they're fucking fine.
They're fine, yeah. And sometimes like friendly types, like somebody wronged them and they'll cold cock them and just like pick them up. All right, we're even now. And then they set out to do whatever they're going to do. Like you can't just do that in real life.
Or just even the classic trope of, I hit you and knocked you out, but you're going to wake up in 45 minutes and you'll be fine.
That's right.
It's like, no, that's a traumatic brain injury. He might never be fine again.
And who knows how people fall? If you're like knocked out unconscious and you fall back, you can just die.
Right. It's just he sort of presented this movie as a fun exploration of sort of like the experience of a schlub attempting to do a murder revenge thing.
Oh, that's good.
And I think the only other thing that we watched was the first 5.
We watched Encino Man.
Lori watched Encino Man on pay cable television.
Encino Man with
Brendan Fraser and Pauly
back
Shore.
In the day, okay.
And the Hobbit, Rudy. Sean Astin is also in that movie.
Oh, okay.
That's not a great movie for the youngins in terms of its content. Also a very silly, stupid movie. A sort of leftover 1980s teen comedy.
It's a 90s.
Yeah, I know it's 90s. What I'm saying is it has that feeling of the sort of movie
it's inappropriate.
That we made it well into the 90s, but it is a vestige of the 1980s in obvious cultural ways. That's not what I was talking about. We watched the first 5 episodes of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms on HBO, which I believe means we only have one to go.
Yeah, I think there's like 6 episodes, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. I've done no research on this show. Are they planning on telling more of this story, or is this a miniseries and they're out?
Apparently, it's a pretty short kind of story, so I don't know if they're going to do like a second short season just to kind of wrap it up, but we'll see.
Well, it was... so far, anyway, I have found it quite delightful.
Yeah, right? It's like, I thought I would be put off by the 30-minute just format. Like you think you would want a little more breathing room, especially if it's going to be like, 1 or 2 season long thing. But it worked.
It works because even with just 30 to 40 minutes per episode, they're still not going anywhere. Right. Like it's a very small story that they're telling. It's effectively a guy who's a squire for a sort of a bum knight. They called them hedge knights, but like a less than fully regal knight in the way that you imagine it. But as revealed through various flashbacks, an honorable man in many ways. So his squire becomes a knight. It's not entirely clear to me if he was actually knighted by the guy or not.
Yeah.
Like I think they're playing fast and loose with that a little bit on purpose through the first 5 episodes. Anyway, I don't know if that there is something to come there in terms of a reveal. So I cannot divulge a spoiler, even if I wanted to.
By the way, speaking of reveal, do you see the open to that second episode? Just
that his giant swinging hog. I remember you spent a lot of time discussing the giant swinging hog of the guy in the 28 Years Later movie also.
That's right. Yes.
So it's a year of giant swinging hogs showing up in unexpected ways. And it's funny because like the joke about the South Park joke about Game of Thrones is what is the song? Wieners,
Wieners.
floppy wieners, swinging wieners, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they included that for no reason except to have a giant swinging hog on television.
Basically, they're like, look, we don't have the budget for dragons, but
right.
We can do prosthetics.
We do have the prosthetics. Completely I mean, not to. I mean, I've seen a lot of giant swinging hogs in my day. I have never, I don't think, seen anything quite like that.
Some of them took some liberties with that prosthetic.
Yeah, and then in the after, because they do the stupid after the episode thing, which we didn't watch for all of them, but we watched for that one. He's like, yeah, we gave him a giant swinging hog. Because, you know, you never know who's going to get one, and it seemed like a nice thing to do for the guy. It's like, all right.
You know, I think we talked about this during the House of the Dragon period where they do this add-on, like, commentary at the end, and sometimes it kind of detracts from...
Yeah, I chose after watching that one. I was like, I don't need to see any more.
Right, because it's like sometimes like why would they kiss and they're like, oh, we just thought it'd be fun if they just had like some lesbo action at the end, like, you know, just like random things that you would throw in there, like,
right,
and it kind of undercuts.
Let the show speak for itself.
Right.
Especially don't let the actors talk about what they thought was going on, because that's never good.
That's never good. And if you're gonna have that be like an actual action, like it shouldn't be just like it just plays, you know, like if you go out and seek this content, it's on you, but like if it just plays immediately after the episode ends, then they're doing a disservice.
Yeah, I will say, compared to House of the Dragon, it took me all of 5 minutes to be fully bought into A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms in a way that I never got to with that other stupid show.
Right.
Like, that other show bums me out. I think it's stupid and bad, and I will continue to watch it because, like,
I think the third season is this year, right? I think they do it every couple of years. But, you know, you're right. That ensemble kind of thing, we have to give screen time for so many different threads, and we'll stick the landing at the end, even though they don't do that.
Because the story's very big, too.
Yeah, this is a very small story. Like, there's just so many characters, you know?
And it just fucking worked right away.
Right.
And it worked right away in a way that other one simply does not.
Right. And I guess it's a credit to the casting people, because they kind of, you know, the kid actor's pretty good. Everybody's
Kid is great. The main character is great.
Yeah, the actors are very good.
The supporting Targaryen awful people are great.
So in the timeline, this is after House of the Dragon, but before Game of Thrones?
It's, I believe, kind of smack dab in the middle of the... Right, because the Targaryens, the House of the Dragon is the story of how they lose their dragons, I believe. Yeah. And then we're here with the in-between time when they don't have their dragons, and then Game of Thrones is the story of how they get their fucking dragons back.
Yeah.
What else did I want to say about this show? There is a surprising, touching beauty to the story that they're telling. And there are a couple of moments where, so like at the start, at the end of one of the episodes, I think the end of episode 4, we get to the point where he's finally going to do this big disastrous melee that's going to happen, right? He has to go to mortal combat for his right to declare himself an innocent of the charges that have been brought against him. And I said as that episode was concluding and before we could watch the 5th one, I think we're about to find out just how Games of Thrones-y this show is in terms of who among the people that we like is going to die.
Yeah.
Right? Because like it was obvious, I think, going into episode 5, someone that we really like up to this point is going to die, at least one of them.
Right.
And they gave you, not to spoil it, because I think people should watch it if this is the sort of thing that you're into at all. They gave you every indication that one of the people that you really like is about to die before sort of rug pulling you, and it turns out it's somebody else,
Right.
who you have come to really like.
Earlier you were speaking about that movie from 2013 about how like this person is not like John Wick, and this night guy, this tall lanky guy, is not like some does not acquit himself entirely. Not to say that he doesn't acquit himself honorably or admirably, but he is not a physical presence in the way that a typical action hero would be.
He's humongous.
No, he's humongous, but he does not use his physical gifts.
No, but he should have died.
No, sure, yes, but the point Abe is making conveys, I think,
he's not
here.
a superhero.
Right? He's not an action hero.
Right.
Yeah, he can take a beating, like kind of like the Hound,
like Jaime Lannister in the Game of Thrones. He's like supposed to be like one of the greatest, whatever,
one of the greatest swordsmen of all time.
But like he's just like some schmuck who's just very tall,
Right. He is as good at knighting as you might expect a squire to a shitty hedge knight to be.
Right.
But also full of all of the good qualities that you want, and it is incredibly touching to me in its presentation of his idealism, of notions of honor, of what he believes a knight should be in the face of a corrupt and bullshit system that is actually dynastic and just allows for these inbred Targaryens to continue ruling the realm in a way that they don't have any actual rightful claim to. Instead, it's always just how awful and how powerful can you be, in the deployment of your awful power.
And this is like end stage
The internet says he's only
Targaryen rule.
6'5".
6'5"?
Sorry, Abe?
This is like end stage Targaryen rule. Basically, like they're losing that respect. Nobody really thought highly of them, but they had the dragons, and so now they're without, and they're like just kind of lost their way.
Yeah, and I did want to play a quick clip from the show here that illustrates the thing that I'm talking about in terms of the honor piece of it. A line that I think kind of sums up the entire thing.
Where are the dragons, Sir Duncan? Us Fossaways, we were here long before these others come to our shores. And our warrant will be here long after they are gone. Who else fights with us?
I know no one else.
I'm sure we can find 5 more good men who wish singers to make them immortal. I do not know why tragedy so oft follows after honourable men. But when I find myself without the answer is always more glory.
I do not know why tragedy so often follows around honorable men is like a beautiful way of expressing this. And the fact that it comes out of this character's mouth, who, not that I don't think this wasn't a huge surprise, but the fact that it comes out of this character's mouth, who goes on to betray him for coin and glory, is just perfect.
Yeah.
And like I'm just so pleased with this television show. Is all I will say at this point, I guess.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, it's been entertaining.
Anything else that we watched or engaged with, Lori?
I don't think so. I've started watching the 2nd season of Paradise, which is fine. There's a sport called fling golf. Should watch that.
Fling? Is it as it sounds? You just fling the ball?
Yeah, so there's one club, and they fling it it's almost like an upside down lacrosse stick. Look it up.
Okay. Is this like on ESPN
Are there 2
Ocho?
G's, or do they use one of the G's in the next word? Is it like fling golf?
Okay, I did write it down. 2 G's.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Okay.
Get on it, branding people.
No, that's about it.
Fling. It just sounds like a made-up thing. Wow, that's interesting.
Well, everything's a made-up thing. Starts that way before it takes over.
What you want out of your sports is for when you Google up the sport, for the people who play the sport to be largely sunglasses, afflicted, and fat. That's what you're aiming for.
I think it's only in Florida.
That tracks.
What is Paradise? What show is that you said you were watching?
It's a show. It's fine.
Oh, I saw the first season. Yeah.
Okay. The first. You think it's a show that's a murder mystery about the president being killed, and they're trying to make it look like his Secret Service buddy did it. But then they quickly turn it, and it turns out this is post-apocalyptic, and this is all in a giant bunker.
Oh, I think I heard that it's a
You heard me tell you about it.
A terrific premise, and then it goes to shit, I think
Yeah,
was what I was
and
told.
then each episode of the first season got worse. But I wanted to, I was interested enough to know who killed the fucking president that I was continuing on with this stupid story of a secret bunker in Colorado. And then the first season ends, and our protagonist, the lawyer from the O.J. Simpson show,
Sterling K.
Brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Flies in an airplane because he finds out his wife is still alive out there somewhere. And then, so I want to see what happens out there. I want to see what the world is like. And then the first episode of this show, this season, was kind of good and interesting.
Oh,
so I'm going to keep watching it.
Mm.
So they front load the good episodes and then it gets worse.
I need something to watch on the airplane,
Yeah.
but really just listen to on the airplane.
Yeah, when are you leaving?
Thursday.
A week from tonight?
Yeah.
Lori's going to Estonia and Finland.
Do you not know when I'm leaving?
I mean, I know it's coming. It's looming, but it just doesn't feel real yet. I'm going to be gone for 10 days. And then I have to go to Atlanta after that. But we can talk about that in a minute. Abe, have you got anything else for us tonight?
Nope.
Well, that's all we've got for you tonight then. And we will talk to you next time.
Later. Just looking at the map. So Helsinki's right across the Gulf of Finland to Estonia?
Yes. So Helsinki is where I fly into, and then we take a ferry to Tallinn and then back.
Neat. Oh,
These are all made-up places on my Nordic countries Ticket to Ride board game. I don't think that they're actually real places. I think you've made this up, knowing my familiarity with the Nordic countries Ticket to Ride board game, and you're probably not that. You're going somewhere else.
Is this the closest you've ever been to Russia, Lori? You're not that far.
Certainly.
Don't get killed.
It's a good time to be traveling internationally on a pleasure trip, right?
I think that my best friend in national security would clue me in if there'd be a problem,
You're coming to... Is this for the funeral?
Yeah.
Super fucking expensive.
That sucks.
Atlanta is?
No, just having to buy plane tickets 3 weeks before you want to go anywhere. It sucks ass. It's also obnoxious because it's hey, I want to pay for this in miles. It's all right, it costs 25,000 miles. All right, I want to pay for this in cash plus miles. All right, it costs 20,000 miles and $250. Well, wait a second here. What math are you doing?
So they're just they have a lot of wiggle room on what points mean.
Oh, yeah, they do whatever they want.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess that's a nice little racket they got.
Oh, you need it in 3 weeks? It costs 5 times as much now.
Right.
Hey, do you want Delta says, hey, do you want a 10% discount on your last minute flight because your grandfather or parent died? Just get us a copy of the death certificate, or alternatively, contact the funeral home and have them call us.
Is that the actual process?
Yeah. You want to save $25? Go to your grieving grandmother and get her to let you take a photo of the death certificate.
That is
and by
wild.
photo, I might actually mean get a notarized copy of the death certificate from your grieving grandmother to save $25.
That's wild. And they must know all this information. You know, if you say like T-shirts, you're gonna get advertisements for T-shirts. They know that someone in the family has died, so they know they're located not where you live, and so they can price it accordingly, knowing that this is a trip you have to make.
You know what the business model is? Exploitation.
Yes.
Weddings.
They wouldn't use that word, but yes, that's what's happening.
Like, oh, he wants to come in with his tablet and his spreadsheets and fucking change shit.
The proceeding was created with 100% human content.